Where are we going?
So we did the Trans Catalina Trail in November of 2020. The whole trail is 38.5 miles long. And so to get to Catalina, you can take the Catalina Express. A round trip boat ticket is $85 about, and it takes an hour each way. You want to be on the boat a little bit early. You can take the boat for free on your birthday, but you have to make sure you register in advance. If you're feeling fancy, there's also the option to take a helicopter, but it's a little bit more expensive. This helicopter service quoted me at about $180 for a one-way flight, but it only takes 15 minutes on a helicopter. We took the first boat in the morning. That was pretty early. I think it was 6 a.m. from Long Beach to Avalon. And our return trip in the afternoon was from Two Harbors to San Pedro. We sailed in and out of two different ports, so I would recommend getting dropped off instead of leaving your car there. Day one of the trail, we left from Avalon and hiked to Blackjack Campground. It was about 11 and a half miles.
My butthole and my armpits are really sweaty. Was that on video?
Yeah.
With pretty chill climbs. I would recommend starting the day after you get something to eat. We got breakfast at Avalon, and then we packed out our lunch and our dinners. The Trans Catalina Trail is a permitted hike, and permits are free. You can book year-round, but the best time to do it is on New Year's because that's the first day that the permits open up.
See that mountain we're talking about right now? Saddleback. To the right of it, far ahead. Yeah. You think that might be saying something? Actually, that is it.
This feels so good. I love a break.
We got to Blackjack Campground in the evening, which was perfect because it was right around sunset, and we cooked dinner, and there was a water spigot where we could fill up water. I used Gaia for my hike, but I think now they have this on Far Out, which I would highly recommend as a hiking app. Day two was the longest day of the trail. We went from Blackjack Campground to Two Harbors Campground, and the whole hike took us 4 days, but if you want to break it up into a longer 5-6 day hike, you can camp at Little Harbor. So there are wild bison on the island. I think there's around 150 of them, and they were left on the island after a film shoot in the 1920s, and they just kind of mind their own business, but don't get close to them, don't touch them. We saw a couple bison, but didn't see our first ones until the morning of the second day.
Big buffalo.
Our first stop of the day was at the airport on Catalina Island for breakfast. Something that I really enjoyed about the Trans Catalina Trail was not having to pack every single meal out.
Okay, I got that one too.
So on day two, we had breakfast at the airport. I had a breakfast burrito. We packed out our lunch and our snacks, and then we had dinner at Two Harbors. The weather on Catalina Island is pretty nice all year round. The marine layer in the morning can make it cold, but we had sunny days, and we were there in the wintertime. There's not a lot of big trees or shade, so I would definitely recommend taking a wide brim hat and sunscreen because the whole hike is pretty exposed. This is Little Harbor. It's another option to camp and break up your hike a little more if you want to take it really slow. We ended up skipping this campground but enjoyed the beach during lunchtime. There's 5 designated campgrounds on the Catalina Trail. It's Hermit Gulch, Blackjack, Little Harbor, Two Harbors, and Parsons Landing. The climbs coming into Two Harbors were a little steep, but we got there during sunset. Keep in mind if you're there during the winter time that the sun is going to go down early, so start off at sunrise and you'll end up at camp around sundown if you hike at an average pace like I do. I got fish tacos and beer for dinner at one of the restaurants in Two Harbors, and then we ended up at the Two Harbors campground where you can also fill up water. Look at this cute little fox guy that we saw. I don't actually know what it is. Make sure you lock your food away because they will eat it. After the longest day on day 2, day 3, we dialed the miles back, but the climbs get pretty steep going downhill into the last campground. So we hiked from Two Harbors to my favorite campsite, which was Parsons Landing. The day started off pretty flat, so we got to play frisbee along the way to the first ascent. Keep in mind that the only water sources on the island are salt water from the ocean, so you have to fill up for your entire day's trek at camp. You can have breakfast at Two Harbors before starting your day, but we just packed out our breakfast and we packed our lunch and our dinner. So even though we did this hike in November, it was beautiful weather. The only thing that really makes it kind of cold is when there's a marine layer, and we didn't have any clouds in the sky for our entire hike. So it was nice and warm, but it was also very exposed, not a lot of trees. I would definitely recommend bringing sunscreen and a big hat for the hike. There's camp. Arriving at Parsons Landing, you'll have hiked about 32 miles. It was a good time for us to take a dip in the ocean before having a snack and setting up our tents. And then, or not setting up our tents. I think half of us cowboy camped on the beach where we just laid out our stuff. There's not really any bad weather on that night. We checked the forecast and yeah, we enjoyed the sounds of the ocean while setting up our stuff and going to sleep. You can order campfire wood ahead of time along with water to be delivered to the campground. You can order the campfire wood when you get your permit. And this was the only campground that we opted for that at because we had the big water source in case we needed to put the fire out. On the last day of our hike, day 4, I didn't film anything. It was super flat and we just kind of hugged the coast. It was beautiful though, and got back to 2 harbors. There's a couple different options for ferries. I took the one in the morning, so got up early and did the almost 8 flat miles to get there. We did it really quick and had some pizza, snacked and came back. And everybody else came back a little later in the afternoon, but altogether we paid about $150 for the trip. Here's the breakdown. And it was awesome. I would highly recommend it.